Welcome to the Drum Shed podcast, and today we've got Ollie Winiberg. Hello,
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm delicious, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. Naturally, that was the first word I
Yes.
thought when I saw you. To be fair, but I'm glad you said it and not me.
It might have been a bit awkward, mightn't it? No,
Yeah,
I'm
and
kidding.
it broke the
I
ice.
I feel like this coming into January, it's been like the longest January ever, and we're only halfway through, which seems crazy, but it's so great to be back working again. And I'm so excited to get on with everything. UK drum show, Europe drum show, drummers review, and everything that in between.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think I went a bit radio silence this Christmas because normally I like to do a Christmas special, and we do like maybe a New Year thing, but I just got like everyone else got ill before Christmas, and it just kind
Yeah.
of wiped me out a bit. And like gradually, I think that's why a lot of people probably gradually coming back into it
Yes.
and
Yeah.
getting over that.
100%. But you're
Yeah,
better now.
I'm better now.
Good.
I've noticed I'm still fat, which is a downer. I thought it was temporary, but it's not.
Well, look, look. There's nothing wrong with being chubby and sexy at the same time.
I know, and obviously bald. Um, but um,
Stop it.
2026, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Um, what was I'm not gonna we will do that we will do the New Year's resolution type thing, but
Okay.
how was 2025?
Oh, 2025 was amazing. It was one of, in fact, I think, excluding, the birth of my children, I would say that 2025 was one of the best years of my life. It was amazing. Had the best year. I went to Nam in California. I went to Switzerland very briefly to go to Germany to go to the Europe Drum Show. Obviously, we had the UK Drum Show. I started working full time for Drummers Review, and it's just been an absolute dream. It's been completely amazing, and I'm so excited to just get the ball rolling in 2026, and to continue to pour out all of these interviews and this content that we've got lined up. Like I'm so excited. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop, and I ate a lot of sweets as a kid.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you that is, I suppose, for the listeners that don't know Ollie Winnieberg, um, he, you are the pretty much at the moment the face of the drum show, the UK drum show, and the Europe drum show when it comes to the podcast and presenting on stage and a lot of the media promos and stuff like that. But obviously, there's a lot more in the background that we'll get
Yeah.
to a little bit,
Okay.
depending on what you're allowed to say legally. But you're very excitable anyway. I mean, I've watched a lot of your interviews, and listened and seen you on stage, and you've got that very excitable. You're like a kid in the sweet shop. But to be fair, you are a kid in the sweet shop because you're in a drum shop or drum world,
Well,
which is
the thing, I think I've kind of self-diagnosed myself as having like Peter Pan syndrome, which basically I might be
uh,
35, but I still feel like I'm about sort of 16, 17. And surround me with drummers and drums and great people and great attitudes. And that's the thing about the drumming community. Look, I'm going to be totally biased here, but there's no other community that links arms like the drumming community. I have never in my life, and I'll say this publicly, I've never seen a group of lead guitarists go out for a drink because it hasn't ever happened. But drummers, it's like the importance of the hang is so important. The importance of being connected and being friends is so important. So when I'm getting on stage for the UK drum show, I almost, or the Europe drum show, I don't feel like I'm on the stage. I feel like everyone everyone is with me on the stage, and we are doing this together, and we are all part of that same big cog that's turning out all these amazing drummers. So that's why I get excited, because every corner you turn at these two events, it's like, oh, I've been playing drums for 50 years, or I've been playing drums since last week. It doesn't matter, how long you've been doing it. You are welcome into the family the minute you pick up some drumsticks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the where you are on the journey of drumming, it's basically like you say. As soon as you're on board, you're on board, and it's all equal. And the amount of support that you see in somewhere like the UK Drum Show in particular, because that is obviously probably the biggest gathering of
Mhm.
in the land, where we all go together.
It's the biggest one
And
in the world.
yeah,
That
well,
and the Europe Drum Show, biggest
yeah,
ones.
well, so I've been going to the drum shows for. I think the first one I went to would have been London Drum Show, and it would have been 2015, probably,
Mhm.
in Olympia. And I was like, oh my God, like, where's this been? Where have I been? I kind of come back to drumming. When I was 16, I played and all that, but I came back to it. But the drum show, I sort of met loads of people. I met actually one of the nice things was I met Rob from Foots, who I hadn't seen since the 90s. And he didn't look any different, and he recognized me, and it was like that was a great introduction to the show, because you think
Yeah, yeah,
I'm back, and now there's all these people that some people that I've known from before, from way back, and there's all these new people to meet. So,
yeah.
so then obviously that when those ended, and we went to the UK Drum Show at Manchester. They were great. And then the evening with Benny Greb and all the sort of other bits and pieces. And then, to be honest, I'd never been to Liverpool
Right.
in my life, and my life's a little bit
Mhm.
longer than yours. And the Liverpool, the UK Drum Show introduced me to Liverpool,
Yeah, me too.
and now I've been going ever since. And it is, I mean, you can't speak to Ollie without talking about the UK Drum Show. And it is, we talk about the UK Drum Show on this podcast every single episode.
Really, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's probably never not mentioned. I would be very surprised if we didn't mention it.
That's amazing. I
Um,
mean, we work. It's a very small team of people that put that event together. Very small. So that means a lot that it is so sort of well respected and enjoyed, most importantly.
I mean, it is, and as the excitement before it. I mean, obviously, there's an awful lot of work that goes in the background that Neil and the team and everyone, you and Mike Dolbear and everyone else that gets involved and supports that. I don't know all their names, but um, that massive job of getting everybody over and all the brands and the artists and the shops and what have you. Um, but that Friday for me, and it might be a Thursday for you, or it might be a Wednesday, I don't know. But that Friday, well, I'm like, I'm out of here. Yeah, I'm
Right.
out of work. That's it. I'm jumping in the car and I'm heading up north, and I'm down South London, so it's a little drive, and we all jump in. Me, my wife, and my son,
Nice.
uh, who does mostly he does photography for Mike Dolbear's room,
Mhm.
which he's been done for a few years. Um, and we just jump in and we make sure it's not too much luggage, so we've got room to take stuff back
Yeah,
because that's important.
yeah, 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 yeah. Of course.
I don't think I've ever come away with nothing.
So I usually drive up on either the Friday morning. In fact, yeah, Friday morning is when I normally
Yeah.
drive up. And I just I love the drive. Like I know it sounds silly, but I love the way up. I love the adrenaline. I always make really cool like playlists that are usually very drum heavy. There's an awful lot of cozy power in there. But I'll usually make a lot of cool little playlists, and I always drag my girlfriend along with me. And then last year I took a couple of friends who weren't actually drummers, but they were both massive Porcupine Tree fans, and they were like, I've got to see Gavin Harrison. So it's amazing that those doors are now being opened, not just to drummers, but to all sorts of musicians, which I thought was really, really great. Um, And as you say, it's like I get the same feeling toward the lead up of the Europe and the UK drum show as I did as a kid on Christmas Eve. That's
Yeah.
the only kind of that's the only kind of thing I can say about that.
I mean, I have to say this. I've been a massive Christmas fan, always have done, and quite
Yeah,
traditional. And
yeah.
even though I'm on my own at the time because my wife has already gone to bed and my he's 20 this year, I go down and watch It's a Wonderful Life as a rule. I will always watch it
Nice.
on Christmas Eve, even if I watch it on my own, because I'll watch it probably till 1 o'clock in the morning. But the the UK drum show, I've got to say, is has replaced that excitement
Wow, that's
because
massive.
obviously with the older child and that, and it's still there and it's still tradition and things, but the UK drum show has actually become more of a excitement. In fact, this year we're going for three Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mhm.
We normally say Friday, Saturday, but because it's half term, and
Oh
my
yes.
wife's a teacher, so
Oh
because it's
wow,
half term, we're just
great.
saying, oh, sorry, we won't shoot off on Sunday, we'll stay, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
it'll,
the both days are just great. Absolutely great. It's so much energy. Just so much love, and respect for one another. And the other thing I love about the UK Drum Show is not only is there a plethora of amazing artists playing the main stage or Mike Johnston's room or Mike Dolbear's or in one of the education masterclasses or anything like that. But downstairs you've got this massive exhibition space where you can speak to some people that are behind the scenes. You can talk to people at different brands. You can ask about where they're going next, or and it's great to put a face to the name of a brand because if you go out and you might buy a cymbal, yeah, it might be your favorite cymbal, but you might after the UK Drum Show go, oh, I met that guy who worked for that brand and he was really cool, and oh, that's a nice little connection to have with a brand that you like, and all these people go into this exhibition space and they, yes, obviously you can get discounted stuff or special deals because it's the UK Drum Show. But more importantly, drummers just support each other. And there's loads of drum kits, as you know, where people can just have a go, and everyone is pushing for everyone else to succeed. And that's such a great place to be and to feel that energy.
yeah. I mean, it may not surprise you to know I'm a bit of a Meinl fan. Um, he says with the hat, and well, anyone that's seen anything that I've ever done or heard anything I've ever done can't mention not mention Meinl. I mean, I've been to the Meinl Festival, and I'm going next year. I've got that, or this year I've got that booked in. Um, but the fact of meeting people from Meinl, like meeting Norbert and meeting sometimes
Mhm.
Udo or Alex, or or Oliver particularly. I always get on well with Oliver. Um, it's just very nice to see the people from the brand,
Mhm.
um, and you feel like when you're buying something, you're actually buying it from the family, from
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from the
Yeah.
person, as opposed to just a
Mhm.
faceless company. So
Yeah.
I think that means a lot. I think
Yeah, I
we're
agree.
quite sentimental, and loyal as drummers. I think we're kind
Yeah.
of loyal, sentimental people to a
Yeah.
degree,
Yeah.
and a little bit
Definitely.
shy maybe. I know it sounds a bit weird for us to say that because we're both doing podcasts and you do presenting, but would you say you're
Well,
shy?
I would say I'm uh like an introverted extrovert, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Um, I keep there's a lot of parts about my life that I keep incredibly private. I've never posted a picture of my kids on social media.
Mm,
There's a lot of things that I keep in my keep to myself. I'm a bit of a 21st century hippie. I'm a huge believer that your peace should always be protected, and there are some things that shouldn't be posted. But when it comes to a show or hanging with drummers or having a beer with somebody on the Saturday night after the UK drum show.
mm,
I am all out extrovert. My natural habitat is interviewing somebody or being on stage or talking to somebody and asking questions. That's kind of where I feel most comfortable. But there is a lot about my life that's incredibly private. But like most of us, we keep to ourselves the things that are often most important.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an off button, isn't there?
There's got to be, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
there's
got to
got to
be
be
because
one.
look, no, I don't actually, social media is it's a necessary evil, and you've got to kind of you've got to switch off sometimes. You've got to go. Do you know what? I'm putting the phone down. Or even if you replace one screen with another and you sit with your kids and watch a film, just you got to be present. And I
Yeah.
think that is incredibly important.
Yeah. Watching films with kids and playing games with your kid
Hmm.
is not the same as leaving them in front of the Xbox on their own or leaving them in
Yep.
front of an iPad
Yep.
because that's time together. And
Yes, I agree.
I mean, yeah, I've always, and also I love playing Xbox games and PlayStation. So
Yeah, I'm in a different camp to you with that because my kids are only 5 and 7, so
yeah,
it's either
Nintendo,
Minecraft or have makeup put on me by my daughter. So
right?
they're the two sort of bookends I'm at the moment.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll become the Nintendo Switch and then
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
go in. But yeah,
yeah,
no, I used to remember used to sort of driving slower to let my son win or missing him on a sort of combat game.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whereas now he beats me and I can't respond quick enough to any of the shooting games. Are too fast. So I kind of moved over a little bit. But anyway, right. So the UK drum show and the Europe drum show. So you've already answered one of my questions. You're doing you do the Europe one as well. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah. And that is coming up in
The
March,
11th and 12th of April.
April. Of course it is. It's near my son's birthday. Yes. And that is in, can you say it?
Friedrichshafen in Germany.
Say again?
Friedrichshafen.
The voice just cuts off at the beginning with the gate. But
Oh,
Friedrichshafen.
sorry.
That's all right.
Friedrichshafen.
Yeah. Bless you. Um I struggled when I saw it. I thought, oh, I'm not gonna try. But yeah, I that's a flight to Switzerland or Munich, isn't it? It's in between the two, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I believe it is. Yeah, it's well, I don't
Vienna.
yeah, it's we you have to fly into Switzerland and then yeah, and
Get a
then
train.
get the ferry over.
The ferry,
Get
yeah.
we'll get a train and then a ferry and then it's a slog, but it's a scenic slog.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, planes, trains, and automobiles. Do you know what?
Yeah.
One thing I must say, I was interviewing Joe Stipper, who's a sonar artist, and he lives 40 minutes from that place I can't pronounce, where
Friedrichshafen.
Friedrichshafen. And he was saying that he said that not, although it was well attended, he said that a lot of the locals really do rely on paper advertisement.
Oh,
As they're not as connected on Facebook or social media as we might expect, which was a really interesting
that's
thing.
interesting. We have to go back to sort of the early noughties and start doing poster flyers around Germany.
Well, on one of I did it on one of our on our commercial on our flyer, whatever you would call them, one of the Instagram posts about that episode, and he was talking about advertising them on like billboards or on cows. And then I did get a little chat GTP to make a picture of a cow with the Europe Jump Show logo on the side, and it looked quite cool. Um, but yeah, so that was just a little bit of market research there for advertising to the locals uh, on paper in the newspaper, maybe. Weird. Yeah, I'm going to try and get there, but it's not guaranteed at the moment. But that would be the dream to go there. That will
We
mean
should.
two trips to Germany. I'm going to Prague in Feb. It's kind of like that would be quite a lot of journeys, but worth it.
Yeah, yeah,
Have
100%.
you
You got to do it. You got to do it.
have people been announced for that? There must have been announced already for that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I should know, shouldn't I? Sorry. Has anyone jumps out that you can say?
Do you know what I'm going to do?
Or
I'm going to
testing
very
you? I'm
quick.
not.
I'm going to look at the website just because I don't know who is still private and who's actually being
Oh yeah, yeah,
announced.
of course, of course. We don't want
So
to be.
I'm going to very quickly. I believe if I my I think we're in a pretty safe space. Yeah, all of Saturday's been announced. So obviously, if you haven't seen it, you've got Darby Todd, who is a phenomenal
Yep.
drummer. He plays
And a
for
friend of
Devon
yours.
Townsend. Yeah, for sure. We've got Jason Bold, real force to be reckoned with, drummer for Bullet for My Valentine. Jos Nickel, who doesn't know Jos Nickel? You've got Grayson as well playing, and Eloy Casagrande is also going to be headlining the Saturday. And Eloy was, I mean, he was amazing on the during the weekend of the UK drum show, and it's so cool that he's doing Germany for us as well. It's the second time that we've ever had this happen before, because last year we had Christoph Schneider play the Europe drum show, and he loved the event so much he was like, I would love to come to the UK and do it. And obviously we were like, yeah, come down, come down. And it was great seeing Christoph, actually, because normally with a Ramstein gig, you've got fire going off, you've got other band members, and their shows are so theatrical and massive, that seeing just Christoph on his own with a pair of headphones just play was great. It was really, really cool. And that again, a bit like Eloy, Slipknot, massive, hugely high value productions on their shows. And actually, when you take everything away, you've just got these amazing players as well. So Saturday, I think, I know who's playing Sunday. I can't say yet,
No, it's
but
fine. It's
Saturday
fine.
is going to be a great day.
Yeah. And in Mike Johnson's room, we got already Martina Barakowska and Miguel Lamas has
Mhm.
been announced. I mean, that's on the
Yeah.
site. Um, and because she was in the Evans room, wasn't she, this year? At the UK show. And yeah, I can't see any. Oh, Ralph Schumacher. Is that right, Ralph Schumacher? Digital
Again,
drummer. Yeah, that's a
I
digital drum. I just saw the name and thought, what? Yeah, digital drummers are Elab artist. That's in the digital drummers room.
yeah,
But yeah, so
it's
more
great.
to be announced, and obviously, the UK one has got nothing announced yet. I take it, because
Can't
I
say too
looked on
much.
I looked on the page and it wasn't anything was announced yet. But do you know what? I always say this that I buy my tickets. I mean, I would buy them on the way out before I know the
Yeah.
date and before I know who's on
Yeah.
it, because I'm
Yeah.
going back. Where it doesn't that part of it is a bonus, if you ask me. I mean, obviously we go to see people, but I do
Mhm.
actually go to see other drummers, as in friends, and
Yeah.
just to be there. That's the thing, isn't it?
Do you know that's you it's amazing that you say that, and it's a point that's been echoed across quite a few people who I've met in the past. I've met so many lovely people. I met a guy a couple of years ago, and he said, this is my weekend. It's one weekend a year, and it's my weekend to do what I want. He was like, I work all year. I've, got kids, got a family. And he said, this is the one weekend out the whole year. I take it to myself because I love drums, and I loved drums before I loved anything else. And I have to make sure that I'm keeping that fire burning. And I think that's just amazing. It's amazing that people love these events so much that they just want to keep coming back. And to being in a room or a hall filled with like-minded people is with no ego and no there's nothing else going on. It's just everybody loves the drums, and they just want to be surrounded by it, because if we could, we would probably sleep on a snare drum instead of a pillow, because that's how much we love drums. And for so many people, it's that it's not only getting inspired or learning or meeting new people. It's just that release valve, isn't it, on real life pressures, because everyone's facing pressures at the moment.
Mm.
And it's the one weekend where you can go, sit back, we're going to entertain you. You're going to meet a bunch of really great people. You're going to have the best weekend. And we'll see you next year to do the same.
And you'll leave inspired, and you'll almost be rushing down that M1 or wherever you're going to get back to you. Hopefully not too fast, by the
Yeah.
way, be safe. To get back to your kit, because it's the
Mhm.
first thing that you want to do when you get back is just to get back on the drums. And if you've bought something,
100%.
obviously you want to put it on your kit and have a go. But if
Yeah.
if even if you haven't bought anything, you might want to take something away that you've learned, or you've written down, or you've just taken that inspiration from words, not even from playing, from words.
Mm.
Someone like Benny might stand up and say something, someone like Mike might say something, Mike Johnson or
Yeah,
Mike
yeah,
Dodd or
yeah.
whatever, and then you take that away and you think, yeah, I'm going to apply that. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
excellent. Right, so just to move off from that for a second,
Yeah.
how did you? I know I don't take too much time of your time. I
No, you're fine.
don't take too much of your time. How did you get where you are now, and where do you want to go?
So I will make this story as short as I possibly can because there's
Yeah,
so much to it.
yeah,
When I was I lost my dad when I was 12, and he was a drummer, and I have always been a drummer since I can remember,
lovely.
and he was my hero. And when I was a kid, I used to sit on his lap. He would like play the sorry, he would do like the pedals, and I'd do obviously the stick part, and it was a bond with a human being that I don't yet have that with another human. I absolutely idolized him, and when he died, he was part of a musical circle, and we decided to put on a couple of annual memorial concerts for him to raise money for the hospital that he was treated at. And I then got kind of quite into my local music scene. And when I was 16, I set up a record label that was funded by Southend Council. And it was to basically distribute compilation albums to 17 bands from the southeast of Essex that didn't have the money to be on a CD themselves. Because this was like 2006, 2007, CDs were still a thing. So I then, it picked up quite a lot of press attention. And I had an interview on BBC Essex, and the managing editor said, "Oh, you sound quite confident. We've got a brand new music program coming up. Do you want to present it? The gig is 3 months." Well, I worked at the BBC for 13 years in total and presented on Radio 1, BBC Six Music, the World Service, did stuff for TV. And I then, over during COVID, I left the BBC in 2021, started a podcast with Spotify. That got into the top 10% of most globally shared podcasts. And I've always been a drummer. And my friend Darby, who is playing the Saturday morning of the Europe Drum Show, he phoned me and he was like, "Are you coming to the UK Drum Show?" And I was like, what? I'm a drummer. How do I not know about this event? Like, what's going on? Contacted Neil. Neil invited me down to host the main stage, and yeah, the rest is history. And I've always had a day job. I was working in an office. It was a job that sucked so much creativity out of me. We've all either got it or we have it, and it's horrible,
Yeah.
but we have to do it. And Neil phoned me, the organizer of both the UK and Europe Drum
Yeah.
Show. I'm making podcasts for him, and he phoned me on my way to work. And I used to hate driving into work, because I realized that I couldn't be the version of myself that I wanted to be in work. And he phoned me and he said, "It's got to the point now where I want to take you on full time." And I was like, "Oh my God." So yeah, I got into work, wrote up about six different variations of my resignation letter, and yeah, the rest is history. And I love what I do, and I'm very lucky, but also, I was doing a day job. I was working nights. There was a lot of work that went into that, and I did that for the best part of 20 years. At one point I was working like two, three, four jobs, and sometimes it wasn't, for money, it was for exposure. Because we can all pay our bills on exposure, can't we? And but if you side hustle enough, you will get there. Um, but yeah, that was it really.
I mean, I think the point of me asking that question was also for a little bit of inspiration to other people as well, because I think this time of year, when people go, right, okay, New Year's resolution, I want to uh,
Mm.
make a difference. I want to change something in my life, and that. I mean, this is the stance that I'm in all the time. Like when it comes to the day job, totally get that. It's a need, but it's not obviously the passion. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think message is to sort of follow your dreams and to and put yourself out there. And
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, dreams are there to be followed, right?
mm,
And a lot of my friends were. There's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of my friends they'd finish their 9 to 5 and they'd go home and watch a telly, and there is nothing wrong with that. If you are happy doing that, that's totally fine. I wasn't happy doing that. That
no,
wasn't where I wanted to be. So I would finish work and then I would drive to work and then I'll go and DJ somewhere, or then I'll go and host a gig in London, or travel or do something. I was not gonna spend the rest of my life working for somebody else that made me quite miserable. I point blank refused to do it. But the person who made me miserable was also helping me pay my bills while I was
and
pursuing
giving
the
you,
side
yeah,
hustle, right?
yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean that's the catch 22. I said to myself the other day, or the other last year, I want a happy job,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and
important.
I think the a lot of us do jobs. No one, by definition, the word work is not meant to be enjoyable. There's work and play, but
Yeah,
I think there is an opportunity to have both.
definitely.
So, or play at work. I mean, as long as you don't get fired, but work and play and happiness is has got to be more important. So, it tends to be that the
Yeah.
happy ones don't pay as much as the miserable ones. It tends to be,
Yeah, but you
but
you can't put a price on happiness, and
no,
without sounding too cynical, we're all going to end up in the ground,
yeah,
and how your time is spent when you're not in the ground is, did you have fun? Did you have a laugh? Or were you just constantly miserable? And
yeah,
if you've got the opportunity to, as you say, do something that makes you happy, then just go for it. Just go for it. You get one. You get well. This is my beliefs anyway. We're getting a bit philosophical
yeah,
here,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I
I,
know where
I
you're going.
I I believe you get one shot. You got one go at this. That's it. There's
Yeah.
no second. There's nothing else. So absolutely go for it. Um, and just live life to the absolute fullest. And that's what I believe.
Yeah, I finish work and I come down and do a podcast, or I go in there and play the drums or
Hmm.
whatever. So, or edit and stuff like that. But yeah, it's all good fun. Um, what was your first kit and what is your current kit?
My first kit was a kit that my dad got me from a pub that was closing down, and it was a very old Pearl export kit. And my dad actually broke his foot trying to get the drums up the stairs, so I felt really bad about this. So the floor tom had to be left at the pub, so I only had like two rack toms, but I was only I don't know, 8 or 9 or something. Um, my current kit is a Tama Imperial Star, and I'm a massive Portnoy fan, probably too much so. But my dad's favorite drummer was Simon Phillips, so my dad modeled his kit on Simon Phillips, like big double bass drum kit and twenty
Yeah,
thousand toms. So when my dad died, I inherited that kit, and I've never wanted to play anything else as of yet, because it's the last thing he left me. Got the most beautiful Ludwig snare with it. It's just the I love it. I love it, and it's so sentimental that I'm not yet ready to touch anything else.
yeah. What color is it? Or
It's
finish?
midnight blue.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, so it's cool. It looks great under like lights and stuff, but I'm trying to. I'm working on like scaling it down. I love odd drums. So for example, like my setup at the moment is I'm using two octabands as my first two toms. Then
Yep.
where my third tom would be is where my first rack tom is, which is just a 12-inch tom, and then I'm using a 16 floor. So you get some really odd, like my biggest love is like I love little um, splashes and strange drums like those little steel mini timps you can get, or octabands
Yeah.
or gong bass
Yeah.
drums. I think they sound so interesting, and like granite blocks, and you can really compose a little kind of progressive sounding orchestra with those sorts of odd sort of sounds. And that's what I really the kit can be small, but for me it's got to sound interesting.
Yeah. What size is the kick? Is it 20 or 22 or
Kicks 22.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you get a nice little rattle in your ribs whenever you play it
yeah,
out. But
yeah,
yeah, but I like to construct my kits to have a lot of high end and a lot of low end. So there's not really a great deal of mid. So everything cuts through
yeah.
or it just goes under your feet.
Bit like Benny with his 10 and 16. He's got that big
Yeah.
interval between the and
Yes.
his 16 is pretty much a second bass drum.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's only
exactly.
16 by 14, so it's not even 16 by 16, but
Yeah.
uh geeking out a little bit there, right? Sorry.
It's good. I like it. I like it.
Feel like a
Yeah.
bit geeky.
Of
Um,
course, yeah. Look, I mean, it's my world. It's my life. Like so many of us, drums was the first thing I ever loved. I
mm.
loved the drums before I loved music. And I, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. And sitting here talking about what kit size or what cymbals do you have and stuff like that. I just love it. It's just so fun to talk about.
Yeah, I just got some bongos
Nice,
because I'm really getting into that whole idea of little
great.
percussive setup. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I've got the bongo stand and I'm a lefty, so I put them over
How
here
are
and
you?
yeah, so it's kind of like I'm lefty that plays lefty. Um,
Oh, okay,
which is
okay.
rare. I mean, and this is because of your one of your best mates, his dad's fault, really. Um,
Oh, what? Phil.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so when I grew up, my uncle was is a drummer and he lived with us. So I grew up like jumping in and out of LeBlanc cases while he's polishing his Gretsch
Oh,
stop
okay.
sign badges. I've been surrounded by them as long as I can remember.
Yeah,
Um, but when I got to play my own kit when I was about 16, it was an Olympic kit. I just set it up the way that Phil's kit was set up because he's lefty. I didn't know that
yeah,
we'd have the same haircut later, um, but at the time, I thought, well, he's left-handed. That's what he does, so that's what I'll do. Um, and it was
okay.
natural because you left hand lead and you go around
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Of course, I had 6, 8, 10, 12
12.
concert toms,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and then my 12 and another 12
13,
and
14. Oh, okay.
whatever I had in my Olympic kit. And then my first new kit was in the black export.
Nice.
Most people will say that was their first kit as the export, which is just
Yeah.
interesting to hear.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
but yeah, so yeah, um, I'm thinking I'm very much into sort of like trying to make little setups and difference and little splashes and stacks and
Do you
all
know what?
that.
I mean, that's exactly what I've got at the moment. I've got for me, crashes need to not overpower everything, but they need to definitely be present in that composition. And so I've got an 18 on my left, a 17 on my right, and then I've got a 6-inch splash, a 10-inch stack, and a 12-inch splash, and then I've got a 22 ride and an 18-inch China, and then I've just introduced as well. I'm doing this with my hand as if I'm playing, and then I've
Yeah.
just introduced just under my China a very loosely set of 16-inch stacks as well, almost to be like another China. I got that inspiration from Ray Hearn from Haken, who, by the way, if you haven't heard Haken, Ray's one of the best drummers and most underrated players on the planet.
Right. So what have you got? This is almost there. Almost there. Almost there. Um, anything you're looking forward to coming up? As in, obviously we've got the Europe Drum Show in the UK this year. Any events or gigs you're going to
Well,
that you can say?
obviously we're sort of full steam ahead with the Europe Drum Show at the moment. There are some things happening in between that I can't quite talk about yet. That I'm very excited about. But yeah, you'll see all about them in the coming weeks and months. But now we are so laser focused on the Europe Drum Show. It was incredible last year. The Germans really made us feel so welcome. Really such lovely and kind people. And so really looking forward to going back there. And then the minute we get off the plane, it is UK Drum Show, UK Drum Show. It's yeah, there's so much that goes into it. I mean, the Europe Drum Show, the one last year, took 18 months to organise. 18 months,
Yeah.
which is an incredible amount of time. So yeah, I'm super excited about that, and yeah, just that's what I can publicly say. I'm very excited
Yeah,
about.
no, no. I was also thinking about any like music that you go to watch as a punter, as a customer. Do you
Well,
go, what sort of band would you go and see?
well, I really still love supporting my local music scene, and here in sunny Southend-on-Sea, there are loads of fantastic music venues. So I love seeing bands that are stadium worthy, of course, but there's something so amazingly raw and organic about seeing a local live band,
Yeah.
because a band doesn't have to be famous for you to like their songs. It doesn't matter
No.
if they've got
No.
5 monthly listeners on Spotify or whatever. Um, I just love seeing local bands, and also I'm in a band myself, so I'm gigging quite a bit. So yeah,
Do you want to tell us
it's
who your band is?
it's a band called Humble Slug. I didn't name it,
Humble
but
Slug.
yeah, we're a progressive rock band, and we've had a lot of great support publicly from uh, Richard Henshaw from Haken, Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater, Darby Todd, obviously Devon Townsend, guitar extraordinaire Pliny has got on board with it. So yeah, a lot of really lovely and great support, and yeah, we're just really enjoying ourselves at the moment. Just gigging for fun and to have fun. That's the great thing about supporting local music.
Yeah, absolutely. I did an event myself the other December with Steve White,
Oh, okay, cool.
near Gatwick, and that was like a clinic or an evening with a podcast interview on stage afterwards.
Mm,
And the people that came out were so happy that this was brought to them,
yeah,
And I was in Norwich with Thomas Lang for Dan Moss with Dan Moss a
oh
little
yeah,
while ago, and the people in the audience there were
he's a
saying,
nice guy. Dan's a very nice guy.
"Yeah, I'm going to see him next week. We're going back for Grayson Recruitment. He's got a gig in Norwich
Yeah, of
again,
course. Yeah.
and we're seeing Grayson on the day before in London at the
Oh wow,
Whiplash,
wow,
and then
that'd be
me and
great.
my boy are going up to Norwich too because he does the photos for Dan and stuff. So we'll be
Perfect.
hanging with. I mean, I met Grayson at the UK at the Minor Festival, and his dad years ago, Jeff, or 23, and at the UK show. So it'd be nice to come
Wow,
up and catch up with them again. But like
that's incredible.
Dan is putting on those events, and the people in the crowd were like, "I never thought I'd see Thomas Lang in Norwich," and
No,
and
no.
and it's kind of, and to I think it's really important, all the events, and it's nice to see the buzz around the UK drum show time when obviously people are over and there's other things going on, like
Mm,
MJ Mike Johnson goes off and does things as well, and people are
mm,
in town, and that spreads out to different parts of the country a little bit, which I think
mm.
is great. But if it wasn't for Neil and
Yeah.
Gold Media, Goldie Media or Gold Media, sorry.
He's Golding, Neil
He's
Golding.
Golding, but yeah, well, the company's Golding Media. I think
I
it,
don't know.
I think it was. But anyway, if it wasn't for Neil, and all you guys, you know, we'd be a bit lost. So
Oh,
long may it live. And I'm sure it will just grow to be bigger and bigger. Uh, it's it's the biggest in the world, isn't it?
it-
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So we're really happy about it. We're super, and as you say, Neil's done the most amazing job. We're happy. We're excited. We're all just so pleased that everybody loves the event. And yeah,
got me
I'm
up.
glad that you are a returning drummer. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
can't
haven't got a
can't
day
wait for
off.
this year's event.
I haven't actually had it authorized of the day off. Um,
Oh, I mean, I'm not telling you to pretend to be sick, but just pretend to be sick.
well, I can't really. Work in a music shop. It's pretty
Oh
obvious.
God,
No, I don't
right.
always
Okay.
work in a music shop. That's one day a week.
Oh, okay.
So, and yeah, I'm going. So let's see how it goes. Put it that
Amazing. You
way.
might have a P45 in your pocket when you do arrive.
So be it.
Yeah,
Um, brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much. Was there
it's my pleasure.
anything you wanted to say or promote that we haven't talked about that I've forgotten?
No, you've
No.
you've you've turned every stone over. So thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure coming on, pleasure chatting to you. Thank you for all your kind words and support for the Europe Drum Show and the UK Drum Show. And well, we really do hope to see you at both events, and we'll no doubt bump into each other. If not in Friedrichshafen, then we will in Liverpool.
Brilliant. Exactly. Definitely in Liverpool, which is on October.
The 24th and 25th of October.
Excellent. So get your
Okay.
tickets now.
Matt, thank you so much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been all my pleasure. So thank you, and I will see you next time.
I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.